Hey guys, I'm here to, I guess, talk about something. I just finished reading The Sleepwalkers by J. Gabriel Gates, and I'm not going to do a review or my thoughts on it. I actually did a small one on Amazon and on my blog, but when I was trying to think about what I thought of the book, and when I was trying to think about what to write, that's what brought me to this topic. When I started reading this book, I was able to concentrate on it. I was into it, and then I found out that my mother was admitted into the hospital on Wednesday. She went in for a simple outpatient procedure, and she wasn't released. And that's what I was going to talk about when I said I had something to talk about when I think I did my book haul or whatever it was. And so she went in for a simple procedure. She had to get a camera put on her throat to look more at her gallbladder and everything, and they found that one of her bile ducts was only had an opening of like a pinhole size, and that's not good. So they sliced that open, and then like however they put it back together to make the hole bigger. And I guess your bile duct and your pancreas are like, I don't know if they're touching, but they're like right there with each other. And some of the liquid from her bile duct leaked out and contaminated her pancreas. I don't know if that's the correct word, and my mother ended up getting pancreatitis like that quickly. So I mean, literally that day that she had that procedure done, she was in tremendous pain in her stomach, shaking. Her oxygen level was low. She needed oxygen. Her blood pressure was very low. It wasn't good, but we didn't know at the time that she had pancreatitis. They didn't really know what happened or what was going on, and if they did, they weren't telling us. So that was Wednesday. My dad was up at the hospital with her, and then so they said, well, we're just going to keep her for observation, and then she should be released tomorrow, which would have been Thursday. Okay, that's understandable. You know, her oxygen level is low, her blood pressure is low. Okay, that's understandable. And they were thinking the stomach pain might have been just because they did actually go further into her and do something that they weren't planning on doing. So Thursday rolls around, and I called to check on my mom, and my dad tells me she's not being released yet. Like I said, she still had the bad stomach pains. She threw up. My mom never throws up, like never. My dad said she was shaking, just like shaking uncontrollably, and her oxygen was still low. Her oxygen, they wanted her oxygen at 95, but it was at like 86. So it wasn't like it was horrible, but it wasn't enough. So they were trying to get that up. So that was Thursday. So then they decided that, you know, like I said, with all this going on, they're not going to release her yet. So she had to stay another night. So that's come Friday. So then Friday, Thursday I was going to go up and see my mother, and my mom just was not feeling good and didn't want any visitors. So I was like, all right, I respected that. And then come Friday, when she was supposed to be released again, and then she wasn't. And my dad, at this point, my dad's getting pissed off because he can't get any answers. Every time my mom's primary doctor comes to talk to her, my dad misses them. He tries to call the doctor's office, and he can't get a hold of the doctor. And, you know how hospitals are. You can't get the information you want. So I said, you know what, I don't even care. I'm going up there if my mom wants me to or not. You know, that's my mother. Something's going on. They're keeping her for a reason. Hospitals do not keep you in there for no reason at all. So I went up there Friday, probably about 7 o'clock. Maybe it was more like 6 o'clock. Me and my husband went up there. And my mom didn't look real bad. I mean, she had a little bit of a yellow to her skin, and she still had real bad stomach pains. They had come in earlier that day to take x-rays of her, I think it was her liver and 2 other things I can't remember. Well, my mom now at this point is starting to hallucinate and become very confused. So of course now we're worried about that. And we still, like I said, didn't really have any answers. We thought she actually had an infection going on because of what they did with the bile duct. And we thought maybe the yellow in her skin had to do with her liver. You know, not really getting much much of an answer. Asked the nurse, and the nurse is like, well, you know, you got to talk to the doctor, but yet I keep missing the doctor. And you can't ask my mother because my mother's confused, and she, you know. So I ended up staying the night at the hospital with my mom Friday. She was on pain medicine, and actually, I think it was Friday night, they started her on, I don't remember the name of it, it starts with a C, but it's basically her nutrients, because she can't eat. Her pancreas was inflamed, and, you know, with all the stomach pains. So she couldn't eat, she couldn't even swallow anything. All she could do was take water in her mouth and swish it around and spit it back out. So then they ended up giving her a one-time shot. I guess Friday night was when we finally found out that she had pancreatitis. But we're still thinking she has pancreatitis and an infection. So they give her a one-time shot for the pancreatitis, and it literally seemed like almost probably not even an hour after that shot, and since they started the nutrition IV thing on her, that I noticed a huge difference. So that was a good sign. She didn't need her pain meds as often. She actually went throughout the whole night without them, and she was awake too, so it's not like she just slept the whole night. Then Saturday, I stayed the night again with her. And Saturday she was doing much better. They came in, they said all her levels were normal, except something with her liver. The enzymes or something were still a little elevated, but nothing to where she'd have to stay in the hospital. She was off her oxygen by this time, and everything was good. So when I talked to the doctor on Saturday, that's when I found out she didn't even have an infection. It was just the pancreatitis, because of when they opened up her bile ducts more. They said it's probably about 1 out of every 100 people that this happens to. And so there's no chance of it reoccurring, because this was caused from like a contamination thing. So while I was in the hospital with her, and then she was released yesterday, but when I was in the hospital with her, I tried reading some more of the Sleepwalkers and that. But with all this going on, I could not really concentrate and really get into my book as much as I would like, or as much as I usually do. So that is why I don't think that I can do a proper review or really tell my thoughts on this book, because I was distracted and my mind wasn't all into it. And that was my topic. Does that ever happen to you guys? Do you guys ever notice that basing your thoughts on a book, or how you feel about a book, a lot of time is dictated by your mood or by your attitude or what you're going through at the time? I do notice that certain book I could start reading and I might love it, like this one, and then something happens and it just doesn't do it for me. Or I could start reading a book and just not be into it at all and put it aside, and then maybe try again later because it's a book that I heard is amazing and love it the second time around. So yeah, I just was interested to know if other people go through that, if they notice that, that your moods, what's going on in your life, things like that, actually help dictate what you feel about a book. So that's about it. I don't think I have much else going on. I don't plan on getting any more books until I finish these books. I'm going to be starting In the Dark, is it called? I can't remember right now. It's in the other room. And then I still have 7 more books to read. So I probably won't have another haul for at least another week and a half or so. Alright guys, I will talk to you later. Bye.